Okay. Mics are on.
Great.
Thank you.
Cool.
It's not.
Oh, could we have the monitor, please? Oh, we got it there. Awesome.
This monitor is not on yet. Thank you. Yes.
They are.
Okay. Buongiorno, Eyewear world. We're Frame the Future, and we're sustainability enthusiasts and experts. So my name is Xenia, and this is...
Good morning, my name's Andrew. Shall I give you a bit more of an introduction as to who the hell I am? Or?
Please.
I am the child of an optician and an optometrist, so I have a family history in optics, but I myself am a deeply passionate environmentalist. But I've been working in optics peripherally for about 8 years or so. 3 years ago, started a not-for-profit in the UK called Net Zero Eye Care, because I want people to take action on the climate crisis. And then a couple of years ago, not even a couple of years ago, I met these two wonderful people at Simon Jones's conference in the UK. Simon Jones of the optician there. Eyes on Sustainability was the first of its kind then, and we got to talking and formed this. And my colleague here is Johanna.
Hello, good morning. My name is Johanna Skans. I'm Swedish. I'm also one of the co-founders for Frame the Future. I'm also founder of a company called Skans Eyewear, a B Corp certified eyewear brand and educational platform based in Copenhagen. I worked in the eyewear industry for 24 years. I'm an optometrist and have been a product manager for many years, as well as been working for B-Lab in the Nordics. So super happy to be here and to share exciting things with you today.
Thank you. So yeah, I'm Xenia. I'm a brand and sustainability strategist. And in my role as sustainability director at Maikita, we had a lot of ambition as Maikita to become very sustainable, but it hit me that there's a ceiling to the activities that you can do as one individual single brand, and that we have issues in this industry that are related to the entire system that we have going at the moment. So yeah, when we met at the conference, I think all three of us had the same conclusion, and we were always waiting for something to happen in sustainability, but when it didn't, we decided to form Frame the Future. So our mission as Frame the Future is to catalyze sustainability in the eyewear industry. Now, why do we want to do that? Because sustainability is no longer just a side topic. It's a whole host of things, and it's linked to topics like supply chain resilience, or reduced risk exposure, of course, innovation and new business models, new revenue streams from that. It also is linked to customer loyalty and stronger brand equity. So in short, it's just good business. We have many challenges in this value chain, not just our industry, but many industries. And the big topics are that we have no standards in data, we have material waste, not many recycling solutions, no circularity, and at the moment, there is no cross-sector collaboration. There's also much more detailed, many problems that we share, and we put some bubbles up here. Not everything is here, but plastic is, of course, a key topic. But we also have very industry-specific topics like lens swarf or PFAS in lenses. So there's many topics that we need to tackle, and we share most of these. And so we started with Frame the Future exactly 1 year ago here at Meadow. And this is the little crowd that we gathered then, and some of you are also here today. So we had manufacturers, brands, retailers of all sizes come together. And so this is the first time that we pitched the idea of Frame the Future. We had people in the room from Anfao, from Eastman, from Kering, from Safilo, from Marchand, Mazzucchelli. We had Mido there, Maikita, C2C, Scans, Vanni, and Zeiss. So we got the go-ahead to develop this idea. And to do that, I wanted to quickly reflect on the moment we're in right now. So eyewear is growing, which is great, but of course with growth comes pressure. And sustainability is where this pressure is most felt. So we've got regulations, regulatory pressure, we've got greenwashing fatigue, which is a big topic, and we have many supply chain risks as well. So what's important to note is in 2026, it's no longer about promises, it's about proof.
Thank you. So we are at a fork in the road. Sustainability is no longer an option. So there are two ways forward, and we can see that the industry is a little bit uncoordinated. So if we move forward in the isolated way, it's usually slow progress, expensive, takes a long time, with little impact. If we choose the other way, we go collectively united, we share learnings, tools, we share the risks, share investments, celebrate opportunities together. In many other industries, we can look at the apparel industry, electronics, automotive, beauty industry. They've already chosen which way to go. And we don't think it's a question about whether we should align. We think it's more a question, what's the risk if we don't align? So we created a study, and the reason for the study was really to better understand the baseline of the industry. What challenges are we facing? What are the key pressure points? And what are the opportunities to build, frame the future, to be able to offer the best value for the key stakeholders, or stakeholders in the industry? So part of this study was 19 qualitative interviews, and many of you are representatives here. I would say these are leaders in the sustainability areas within our industry. Everything was happening under the Chatham House rules to keep honest and open conversations. We thought we were going to hear 19 different stories, and so we did, but we could also see a pattern, the same pattern, with the same challenges these businesses were faced. The same questions remained with the answers were unremained, and lots of similar work were happening in parallel and in isolation. So, and this was, of course, just a slice of the full value chain representing manufacturers, brands, distributors, suppliers, retailers. Another part of the study was desk research, and we were fortunate enough to get two postgraduates to support that work. And we could see that everyone is moving forward, but independently, not together. You're welcome.
Thank you. So to share some of the insights that we gleaned from the study, challenges are ubiquitous and myriad. And this is a brief summary of some of the most prominent challenge areas. It's certainly not all of the challenges faced in the industry, and it's certainly not true to say that everybody that we interviewed is experiencing all of these challenges. But it's fair to say that they were all felt by a good number of our participants. So to summarize, just in case anybody can't see them, we've got supply chain transparency, transportation, challenges of regulation, of materials and waste. We'll go into some of these in more detail in a minute. price sensitivity and costs, a mindset of competition over collaboration, a retail filter and communication, and a tremendous inconsistency of standards and language. And whilst some of these challenges may have been more or less applicable to some of the participants in our study, and they can be treated as isolated challenges, siloed indeed, it's far more true to say that these are all very, very interlinked. There are common pathways of causation and correlation between them. And what these challenges really do represent is the three-dimensional environment of sustainability in optics and eyewear. We can also look at them in more clusters. So issues within the supply chain and transparency, which many people commented on, can be kind of fundamentally summed up by a data wall, because when looking into your supply chain, what you're really after is data, and that is phenomenally inaccessible. The economic barriers are one that I think we can all comfortably make assumptions about, because those assumptions are pretty damn true. Sustainable items, more environmentally friendly or ethical items, come with a price tag at the minute. Now, that's insane, but frustratingly true, and is providing a fundamental barrier to sustainable initiatives getting off the ground. A really interesting point that is special to this industry is the way that it is built. We are not built to be circular. There are materials being used in this industry very regularly that have been the same just about for a good century or so, and they weren't designed to be circular a century ago, and they are not circular now. Meaning that many of these products, when they come to sale, have about an 80% waste in their manufacture. Such a long way from circularity, summarized as the waste trap here. And the issue of knowledge and communication, which I'll explore a little more in a minute, is ubiquitous, again, throughout the value chain, but comes to a serious bottleneck at the point of retail. Because all of manufacturers and production's best efforts to be more sustainable may or may not be successfully communicated at the point of retail, and may or may not make an impact with consumers. And so the retail filter is a very, very profound challenge. I'm going to share with you a couple of quotes from the study. They've been completely anonymized, as was agreed with our participants, but do just highlight the particular areas that we explored. So, on the issue of supply chain transparency, one of our participants said, "When we dig, we arrive till a certain point, but we really do not understand what is at the base of the grains that make up our acetate material. It's like rubber walls," which I imagine many of you can resonate with to a degree. You know, if we can have good, transparent relationships to a degree with our suppliers, but when asking and pressing for key data, the conversations come to a dead end, leading to tremendous frustration. On the issue of competition and collaboration, we heard trust is a very big issue. Internally, we're afraid of others stealing our suppliers. Why are there NDAs in place with our suppliers? Because other clients pay maybe a lower price for the frames than we do. Indicating, as it says it literally in this quote, trust is a fundamental barrier to potential collaboration and security and transparency within a supply chain. Because of the mindset that enters this conversation being one of competition first, collaboration second. Those two things need flipping on their heads. On waste, we heard a lot of what we use is new, and we cut part of it off and throw the rest away because that's just the way our industry works. This participant slightly apathetically added, "It's unlikely to change anytime soon." I don't need to spend any longer on waste. And particularly looking at the standards definitions and communication barriers, this is quite an accessible challenge, right? People are lost with the standards. You can read on some websites that they use bioacetate, others call it eco-acetate. And it's just, you're not even sure what exactly the material is that they're using. This participant here is questioning whether or not the supplier really knows what they are selling. This fundamental linguistic challenge is frustrating enough. It's an impediment to process enough. It's indicative, though, of how shallow it starts and how deep it goes, because also looking throughout the supply chain, and we're looking for consistency in communications and standards, we run into tremendous inconsistencies. And I've spoken to many practitioners who want life cycle assessments. They want good data on life cycle assessments, and many companies have undertaken them, but they are incomparable because of a lack of common methodology. And so there is just so superfluous gaps in communication and common language.
Thank you. Right, so the most important protagonist in all of this, of course, is the consumer who's buying the eyewear, and how are they feeling? So with them, it's a case of eroded trust, because what they actually need is clear, credible information. They want proof and not promises. And they want, first of all, personal value. So it's about their own benefit rather than the planet. And they need low friction at the point of purchase. So things need to be understandable and easy, and sustainable choices need to be made easy. So what did we come away with from the study? We have fragmented tools, duplicated efforts between companies, which leads to higher cost, missed scale, slow progress, and confused customers. So in the end, we're left with an alignment problem. So now it gets a little bit nerdy. This is an ISO framework of the circular economy. There's an ISO standard around that as well. So it's basically saying that 3 areas have to overlap. So we need to have business models that are sustainable or circular. We need to have circular principles implemented, like traceability, long-term value, and we need to measure in a consistent way and report and have good decision matrix. And at the moment, we found that all of the companies that we talked to, who are mostly sustainability leaders, already operate within one of the bubbles, or maybe 2 of the bubbles, but nobody is working where the bubbles overlap. And that's the golden triangle in the middle, and this is where systems change happens. And that's what we're here to enable. So what's needed next? We need collective action with a shared infrastructure, and frame the future as a system integrator to lead this effort. So the outcomes that we're aiming for are clear standards, a collaborative ecosystem, shared data, pooled pilots, and at the end of the day, a much higher credibility. So we've got a quote here from famous architect Buckminster Fuller, and he says, "You never change things by fighting existing reality. To change something, build a new model that makes the old one obsolete." So that's the ambition.
Thank you. So in a circular system, we are measuring impact by how much a company is giving back to people and the planet. But we also need to better understand where we are now, where is the current system. And in the current system, we are rewarding speed, volume, and novelty. But in a circular system, we are focusing on lowering our emissions, focusing on regeneration rather than overconsumption. And you're probably very familiar with the symbol to your left. In a circular system, we are keeping the value of the product and the material in life for endless many years. So the result in a circular system is really to reduce environmental impact and create real value, longevity, and long-term value, long-term industry resilience. So again, the study was meant to set the baseline and navigate where Frame the Future is heading and how we are going to develop it. And these are 5 different pillars that we are going to develop. And the first is the pre-competitive platform for collaboration. So it's going to be a very practical platform. Industry standards, so we speak the same language, so we can compare like for like. We're going to offer educations and tools, innovation hubs to be able to scale circularity.
Thank you. So here more concrete projects around these 3 major topics that we're focusing on. So under standards, the first proposition that we have is to develop the product environmental footprint category rules at EU level. So this is where companies come together. You need to have a good share of the industry doing this together. And we have the fashion industry, who's a great example, who just managed to together put 14 standards in place. So saying this is how we do LCA for a t-shirt, for a pair of jeans, for shoes, for accessories, etc. So they developed 14. And aren't we lucky in eyewear? We have optical frames and sunglasses. So after 2, we should be done. Maybe sports glasses as a separate one, but right? So should be doable. And in terms of measurement, we are also proposing to introduce the HIG index, which is something that was developed for fashion, to measure or to rate suppliers. Then we also want to dig into carbon footprinting, so sharing references with the industry, because right now it's incredibly hard to find any kind of data. And in terms of circularity, we're opening up working groups. So the topics that we have highlighted right now is the topic of the demo lens, which is a tricky one. They're all tricky. Then we have acetate recycling, and then we also have the eyewear case, because there's new regulation coming in, the PPWR in Europe, whereby cases need to be, as part of the free stuff that we give away with each frame, they're part of the product, and they have to have certain sustainability standards, and this is starting already in the next years.
Hi, my name is Rick Ridgway, and for 15 years I was Vice President for Environmental Initiatives and Sustainability at the outdoor clothing company Patagonia. And while I was in that position, I co-founded what originally was called the Sustainable Apparel Coalition, the SAC, but what is now known as CASCALE, which stands for Collective Action at Scale. And since all of you in the eyewear industry have gathered to consider how you can collectively take action to advance sustainability, your host, Xenia, asked me to say a few words about how we started the SAC 15 years ago. Well, shortly after I joined Patagonia in 2005, Walmart asked us to help them develop a scorecard to measure the environmental impact of the apparel manufacturers in their supply chain. It was a simple 15-question scorecard to measure environmental impact, but because Walmart was then the biggest company in the world, it had a big impact. And Walmart was appreciative of what we had done to help them, so they asked me if there was anything else we could do together, and I proposed that we partner to invite other big companies into a coalition to develop a truly robust scorecard. Well, they agreed, and they assigned an executive to work with me to get the idea launched. We had our first meeting in early 2010 with about a dozen initial members, and within a year we had grown to 40 members, and by 2012 we had our version 1.0 measurement tool that we called the HIG. The organization was growing like crazy, and we were spiraling into chaos. We formed our own company, and today that is Worldly. And they have 2 representatives here at your conference. And I'm so proud of what Worldly has accomplished in a short amount of time. We started the company in late 2019 with only one employee, and today it has over 150 employees, and it continues to grow fast because it continues to deliver value to its customers, showing them how sustainability management through measurement creates business value. So I encourage all of you to talk to them while you're here at your conference. And I'm cheering all of you on as you work together to find how, through collective action, you can make eyewear an industry that values the health of the planet and its people. Thank you so much.
So thank you, Rick, for these words. He's obviously a fantastic mountaineer. He's written books, done films, climbed many, many mountains, and also is the founder of Cascale, or what was formerly the Sustainable Apparel Coalition. So a legend in many aspects. And I've had the pleasure to talk to him, and he's very excited about getting eyewear into the Higg Index, or proposing to use the Higg Index also for the rating of suppliers. And I think it could be a great way to unify, because one of the things that we heard in our conversations was that for suppliers it's a nightmare because they have to do different kind of forms for each company. And especially the big groups that we have that have lots of different brands that they work with. Some of them have hundreds of brands that they work with, and they're all requiring different forms, different systems. So this would be to unite everyone in one measuring tool. So why should you join Frame the Future? So with us, we can set the standards, we shape what comes next, we give access to the shared data and to the pilots before they scale, and if you join, you're a leader and not a follower. And this is our cue to go to the panel talk.
I'll take that if I may, although I'm not going to need it. And may I please welcome to the stage a panel of fantastically interesting people. I've got Thomas Burkhardt, the president of Marchand Eyewear here. I've got Giovanni Vitelloni and Alessandra Girardi from Vani. So that's president and vice president in that order. And Marcus Bellacchio of Regenesis Materials. And I have a microphone for you guys. If you could share those, that'd be great. Right. So, thank you all so much for joining us on this stage. You guys have been fantastic supporters of what we've been trying to do with Frame the Future since day one, not that long ago. You all contributed to our study, as we've recently talked about, and thank you in person for doing that. We're not going to ask you to divulge anything that you divulged in the study, because obviously those were anonymous, but it's lovely to have you in conversation here to discuss similar themes. So if you wouldn't mind just giving me a brief overview from where you sit in the industry. What are the most pressing challenges to eyewear and the catalysis of sustainability? Thomas, may I start with you?
Well, first of all, thanks for having us, and thank you, Xenia and Andrew and Nina, for leading this incredible initiative. I was very excited a year ago when you kicked this off, and you had us at hello, so to speak. Biggest challenges for the industry clearly is, in our case, it is what you already mentioned up on stage earlier, and you've done incredible research on this, is that we're currently fighting a lonely fight. Certainly in partnership with our raw material suppliers, and we're going to talk about that at a later stage with our partners, with our stakeholders. But as an industry, we haven't really been able to come together. And while I'm a big fan of our industry associations and being on the Vision Council, being members of ANFAR and all of this, they have so many other things on their plate that just it always falls short. And this is where you guys coming in and really creating what I called, I think in our first meeting, the coalition of the willing, will probably be the key enabler to get us going on this, because I think we're very proud of the efforts that we've achieved as a company together with our partners. But determining for our industry the path forward, sharing the knowledge, setting the standards, helping each other with innovation, I think that can make this more sustainable and even more impactful.
Thank you.
Yeah, so something I analyzed a couple of years ago was the lack of materials innovation that can actually enable the brands and the companies that have all the sustainability targets to achieve them. So first time I came to meet was actually 2 years ago, and I saw everyone with these wonderful and beautiful sustainability targets and goals to achieve net zero. But by speaking with the sustainability managers, what I realized is there's a gap between the desire and what the supply chain can offer. And then by diving deeper, I analyzed that 80% of all the emissions come upstream in the production of the materials and the frames. So then I realized there is a need here to create truly net zero recycled materials that can be closed-looped so that everyone can actually achieve their goals and build a supply chain that can enable that transition. So that's the main challenge that we saw and what pushed us to move forward with Regenesis.
Thank you.
Well, thank you. I think you highlighted them all. The challenges are there on the blue board.
They are extensive, yes.
Yeah. I think personally, talking about our experience, we're a small size Italian, 100% made in Italy brand. There is one challenge within the company, and we're both in the company. The company belongs to Giovanni's family. I just came on board later on in life, and I'm impact manager, so I take care of all these subjects. And already at the governance level, we're both in the governance of the company, there's a challenge to let the topics relating to sustainability get on the agenda and be right there. Because when we talk about numbers, you know, when you deposit your balance sheet at the end of the year, Giovanni was, you know, it's been not a very easy year, so he's a bit disappointed. On the other hand, I'm very happy because we said we never produced so much value in terms of what we did, in terms of sustainability for the people we work with, the project we're following, the environment, the things we're doing. So already there is a kind of a dynamic inside. And then I've been saying this very often to Johanna, Xenia, and Andrew. The other challenge is how to get these themes on people's minds. So it's really a change in mindset we need to do. On my LinkedIn page, I get so many inputs from companies who are on the same page with us. So it's I feel I'm in a bubble. I just read things of companies that are doing well. The problem is that out there, it's not like this. That's a small majority. And so we need to work very much on the mindset of people. So that has to be a process. We need to participate bottom up, like we were discussing last night.
Grazie.
Well, thank you, Andrew. I think Frame for Future, it's a fantastic project. Our main challenge today, as Alex was saying, is really to involve our supply chain, involve our teams on sustainability, and most of all, from a business point of view, as a small entrepreneur with our small company, is really to have our team on the market being extremely involved. We need ambassadors to come on the same path. So what I think it's so it really fills me with enthusiasm. A project like Frame the Future is to make networking, because we have on the same ship. We have big enterprises, we have manufacturers, we have brands, small, big, but we're going towards the same direction. And I think networking to make our speech louder, it's really the future. So our biggest challenge is involving people and have people that can hear us. That's the main thing.
That's a very insightful point there. And thank you, all of you, for your contribution there and for sharing challenges, but not stopping there. We're all relatively aware of challenges and relatively sick of them. And thank you, so, for sharing solutions to the challenge that you talked about as well. Like, there is significant hope for the future in what you've just described. And you all had different things to talk about. One of the points that came out of our study, and is certainly relevant to what you've just said, was the idea of collaboration within an industry over competition. I do feel naive often in suggesting that businesses can collaborate more and put aside competition in the conventional sense. Do you believe that it is possible for businesses to separate appropriately competition and allow space for collaboration in this? And anybody, please feel free to pick this up.
So absolutely. And you cited some examples from other industries that have done it very successfully. Everybody wins if we get this right. If we put our entire industry, our entire supply chain, which in many cases is shared, onto more sustainable footings and develop the same similar standards. Does it develop competitive advantage? Maybe in the short term, if you get maybe one leg over the other, but over somebody else. But certainly in our company, both at BSP as well as Marchand and now as Markland, we don't see it that way. So we're very happy to collaborate and help to set those standards. Again, everybody will win.
Thank you. Anything anybody would like to add? You're very welcome to.
We call it co-petition, right? So
Co-petition.
Co-petition. So the idea of pushing it on one side and then being pulled on the other side, I think will really make the difference. So if we are loyal to ourselves, if we are transparent, we have no fear. Co-petition really will put us in on the right path. So that's what I think.
Brilliant.
Well, I really believe we have no other choice. That's the only way. You're not naive, Andrew. I think you're right. You're standing on the right side of the world. That is,
I feel in good company here.
Yeah, yeah. And it's about the planet. It's about the people. I mean, it's what we're surrounded of. It's where our kids are growing. They will be growing. So there's really no other way. We have to do that. It's not easy, but I'm sure it's like, when you have a stain of oil, talking about oil of oil, okay, not the other oil, oil of oil. It kind of, when it spills, then it tends to, slowly kind of involve everything that it reaches out. We have to work that way, we have to involve people and companies and just everyone, just slowly, but on the same objective.
I think that's a very, very valid point. Thank you. We'll power on over the tannoy. Marcus, final on this question, because we need to wrap up soon, and I want to ask 4 questions. But still on this point of collaboration and working with peers in the industry, something that has caught my eye among the other cool things that you do is your network. So could you tell us a little bit about how you're already working to build up other interesting people who are working towards positive objectives in the industry?
Yeah, something we identified is that all the parts are already disjointed, and our mission with Regenesis is, apart from developing our own innovative materials, is also to connect the dots through what we call the Regenesis network, which is this certified and validated network of material suppliers in which we, with our material science capabilities and our team of PhD researchers, we can verify that the quality of what they're doing is correct. And together, we can also do the environmental science research to validate that the environmental claims are also correct. And that way, we can essentially connect all the dots of the supply side. And Regenesis is actually, it's funny, we're talking about the trifecta, but our logo is actually a molecule with 3 atoms, which is connecting academia with the industry, with businesses. So that's what we're here to do, is essentially to connect everything together and provide the scientific background that is necessary for it to be positive and credible and real.
Fantastic. I love that approach. And I don't want to overrun our time, but I do want to open the floor to anybody else. So while we have a few minutes, does anyone from the audience have any questions for our panel here? Yes. May I grab a mic? Marcus, grazie. Here you are.
Yes, hello. I'm Angela from the German magazine DOZ, and I know very well Giovanni and Alessandra and also Thomas, and we are following your work and absolutely appreciate it. And I think also we, as the press of the retail, we have of the trade magazines, we have of course our responsibility to make sure that the right communication goes out. But what I want to understand, when I look on the 19 participants in the study, it becomes very clearly that there's only one retailer, Specsavers. So my question to you is, how big is the pressure from the market side, from the retail side, and especially from the last in the chain, the end consumer? Because I think when I go to optician shops, I only knew a couple of shops in Germany who really take care about sustainability like a leitmotif, a topic of their marketing strategy, or about their philosophy, maybe better.
Thank you for that. Please keep the mic. We'll pass it around. Yeah.
Okay, I'll start. There are very few. There's a very small pool. Say it that way. Yes, some retailers, Specsavers certainly is a lead there. I remember listing products with Patagonia, by the way, as well for their stores, and they're having obviously questions there. But retailers, first and foremost, have to serve their consumers and the people shopping in their stores. And if they're not asking for it, the retailer will not ask for it. But we can't be discouraged by that. We see a clear mission to bring more sustainable products to the market, put them out there, and you know, given the percentages of product coming out there, at some point, we're not giving the consumer a choice, so to speak. But the consumer awareness isn't there yet. And I always jokingly say, well, because we haven't seen pictures of discarded frames floating in the Pacific, maybe we need to communicate also more what the actual issue is in our industry. But the pull isn't there yet. You're absolutely putting your finger on the right topic.
Have the other mic just on for a second.
But you can see that in other parts, in other markets, there are more demand. Take one example is the outdoor textile. So I went to Globetrotter 2 weeks ago in Berlin, in Hamburg, and they have really the departments with with recycled clothes and second-hand clothes now they take back. So I think that shows that there could be also a pressure on the demand side from the end consumer, and maybe it's better to make also more efforts to go to the public magazines to make some communications. I don't see anything about that.
So a very interesting research that we just conducted last month in January. I was with a PhD in behavioral economics from Germany, and we want to validate if clients actually care or not about more sustainability in the buying decisions. So we went to a shopping mall we interviewed 100 people, and we showed them 2 pairs of glasses that they show exactly the same. One is made with virgin nylon TR90, and the other one is with our carbonite material. And when people learned that carbonite is made with recycled plastic waste, and it's an advanced recycled material that is lowering the carbon footprint, 77% of people chose carbonite over TR90. And then interestingly, if they knew that it's made with recycled plastic, we asked them if they would be willing to pay more or not, and 18% only said they would be willing to pay more, and some people said no. But when they learned that, so a different group, when they learned that it's made with carbon fiber and it's an advanced material with a unique carbon capture technology, actually 80% said they would pay an average of $9 more. So the conclusion of that research is people clearly prefer more sustainability as long as they are informed about it, and they're willing to pay more if sustainability comes with an innovative edge that is driven by more technology.
Mm-hmm.
So the key is then phase 2 of the research that we're going to conduct now is how do we communicate that effectively, and by bypassing the barriers of the disjointed retail chain, right? So that's the next stage is how do we essentially produce the product, maybe adding a sticker, or we'll do some research about it, in a way that the message is conveyed all the way down to the consumer in a way that it's doable, feasible, practical, and economically viable as well.
I agree.
Thank you so much for that. Do you guys want to just add to that really
just
quickly?
One little thing, because you said it all. But what I want to say to Angela is that we, as Vanni, we became a benefit corporation in 2021, just after COVID, and we are obliged by law to come out with an impact report every year. And just to give you, since we feel we have the responsibility of driving towards sustainability, on the Italian market, we were the first benefit corporation, and we have been an example to at least, as far as I know, 6 or 7 big optical stores, which became benefit corporations as well. So I think giving the right example and showing the path does make a little bit difference. Then it's one step after the other. So we have Specsavers, but I'm sure in 1 year from now we will have many more. And then Andrew has a great experience on the UK market with single analytical stores, right?
Absolutely, but I'm not going to go into that now because we've taken up enough of everybody's time.
Yeah, I'm just saying, we are here to find other companies to, invite them to come on board and join.
Absolutely.
And one thing I can say, it's really wonderful to be part of this group of people. And also it's very inclusive because, I'm sitting here next to very big company, younger generation that is involved in innovation. So it's not only the size of the company, it's the generation that is involved in the company. This is different from ours. And I think this mix is what makes it so unique and interesting, and it's very inclusive because I don't feel awkward when I talk to you or you. I think there is a space for everyone to say, what the challenges are and to find together a way and to exchange practices and hopefully lead the way. We are leaders, like Senya was saying. So I think this is a good opportunity for those who are not close to the group yet to come closer and find out more about it.
It is conversations like this, thank you so much, Alessandra, that make an environmental freak like me genuinely hopeful for the future. It's a genuine pleasure speaking to you guys about this and our shared passion for it, and we're not alone in the industry at all. Like, this is very much growing, and thank you so much for being a part of it. So thank you to everybody for joining us today. I'm sorry we didn't get a chance to have more questions. It's nice to end it on this point, though, where we're able to demonstrate that there's quite a lot to talk about this in optics, and that there are some very enthusiastic participants in this conversation. So I encourage you all, in what's left of Mido, go and bend people's ears about sustainability and keep this conversation going. Obviously, you can follow all of these wonderful people and their brands. Please join me in giving a massive round of applause, and thanks to my panelists, to my co-founders. Scan there and follow Frame the Future on LinkedIn. Let's frame the future together. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Brilliant.